Okay.
And I wouldn't say if a straight person was a nymphomaniac, I wouldn't say you should have pride in being a nymphomaniac. I should say that's a sexual act, and you shouldn't define yourself based upon your sexual acts. You know what I'm trying to say?
Right.
You should find a higher calling to define yourself, mainly serving God's will, to define what you would call pride. And even then I would honestly say that as you begin to serve God's will, you learn to be more humble than anything. Go ahead.
Right, but how are homosexuals supposed to do God's will, learn God's will, grow in God's will if you're keeping them out the church?
For questions, comments, and to show your support, visit us on the web at afroempath.com. It's an opportunity for me to be able to speak to someone that knows Buddhism. You know what I'm trying to say?
Oh, absolutely.
And trying to compare and contrast different philosophies.
Well, like you said, there's some Buddhist sects that will say that homosexuality and lesbianism is not allowed. There's some Buddhist sects that would say even between man and a woman, there's no anal sex, there's no oral sex. So again,
you're saying there's no sex period. You're saying
no anal sex.
Oh, okay, but
with a man and a woman.
Okay. Okay. So you're saying no. Okay, gotcha.
Or no oral sex. You don't go down on each other.
Gotcha.
Kind of, between with a man and a woman. So different schools will take it to different levels.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
My thing is, are they given the science behind why that's wrong?
I couldn't tell you. I can't say yes or no because I've just read things in passing.
Yeah.
I'm not part of those schools to say what they teach or don't teach.
I shouldn't say I know, but I've gleaned a little bit. But basically, from my small understanding of it, like a man has like a negative charge in his chest. A woman has like a positive charge in her chest, right? Mm-hmm. A man has a positive charge in his sexual organs, and a woman has a negative charge in her sexual organs. You know what I'm trying to say?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So it's like when they come together, it's like obviously that's like a battery. You know what I'm trying to say? Right. So it's like it creates a charge there or a spark. You know what I'm trying to say? Yes. And when two men come together, now they might still feel something, but they're not creating the energy conducive to harmony and balance. You know what I'm trying to say? In order.
Absolutely.
So it's like, I believe, the Christians have a concept called the body of Christ, right? That means we're all connected by our eternal souls, right?
Yes.
And so in Gnosticism, some Gnostic sects were so strict or so out there that they didn't even want to procreate. Obviously, you've heard of some Christian sects that died off, obviously, that they didn't want to procreate because they didn't want to be on earth anymore. You know what I'm trying to say?
Right.
So in Gnosticism, we would look at giving or having a child as a necessary evil, because you would never bring someone that you love into hell. You know what I'm trying to say?
Right.
But that has to happen in order for these bodies have to come in here, so that in order for Christ and angels to be able to incarnate, to do the work that they have to do. You know what I'm trying to say? To help raise the vibration of this world. So my thing is that, like, number one, it's it could be immoral for the fact that you're not dealing with the underlying root of your issue. It could be immoral that you're having pride in basically a sexual act, or maybe a moral act, and then on top of that, you also have the issue where you're drawing. A lot of these people don't realize that they're drawing energy from. Some of them do get a kick out of trying to turn straight men. You know what I'm trying to say?
Of course.
And so there's a certain strange energy there. You know what I'm trying to say? A perversion.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next thing in terms of just the religious aspect of it is they're not walking the path in terms of being an upright, just like, again, a Christ-like man. I'm trying to say a masculine man. Then there's another aspect of it, a genetic aspect of it, where we could go back to how we as the original people didn't have the rhesus monkey gene in our DNA, and
Right.
that's something that we got. In Africa right now, there's still Africans that have no rhesus monkey gene, but obviously in America, many of us do have that, and we're Rh positive. That means that that Rh stands for rhesus monkey. So the rhesus monkeys do practice homosexual acts. If you look them up, a lot of monkeys do. So that's something that came more from the animal kingdom. That's not something that we as African people or Moorish people or black people did. So it's unnatural. It's against our nature. It's ungodly. You know what I'm trying to say? Because it's like, again, if we're all part of the body of Christ, and we all have a role to play on this earth, then if they're not part of the body, they're free radicals in the body. That means I'm not trying to say they're diseased in terms of like that they can never be saved or whatever, that they have no, like they don't have souls and that they don't have a chance for eternal life. I'm just saying that like that path, I'll put it this way. I spoke to that one brother, right? And what I realized, you know what, he is on a spiritual path, and here's what he came to do. He came to do this. There is demons. There are demons within non-homosexuals, right? But there are certainly demons within homosexuals, right? Okay. And the way I see it is, if demons are passed on through both, if demons, how can I put it this way? If a demon can come into a host body, right? Wouldn't that demon rather that host be able to sleep with both sexes? Does that make sense? I'm just saying from a demon's perspective. You know what I'm trying to say?
I can't
I see
speak on the demon's mentality.
Yeah.
I would think demons have been on the loose a lot longer than I've been alive.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, hypothetically, I'm saying demonic wise, it'd be more beneficial if you could do both. I'm just saying, hypothetically, right? Why would a demon not want to be let loose and to have whatever it could have? I'm trying to say more options, right?
Well, demons do have more options. I mean, it's being shown in war, in violence, in the drugs.
I hear what you're saying, but the thing is that's easy to understand as being wrong and immoral. We understand that, right? Mm-hmm. But there is something a little more sinister in this whole homosexual or the LGBTQ thing, where it's being seen as something that is not immoral. You know what I'm trying to say? So
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, there's so many ways to kind of talk about it, but ultimately, let me go back to that one brother I talked about. So in terms of as far as what I gleaned from his story, right? He actually is on a positive path, and he's a bisexual man. Here's what I gleaned from here's what he did. Those demons that I just talked about, he came to take those on within himself, right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And he, instead of, as you know, a lot of people that are molested, go on to molest other boys, right?
Yes.
He did not do that, right? He took those demons on within himself and transmuted them, and used that falsehood and cultivate it within himself through a process of alchemy to still serve God's will. You know what I'm trying to say? The brother's been celibate for 6 years now. You know what I'm trying to say? Mm-hmm. So there is a path for them. You know what I'm trying to say? But still, he came from a life where he was waking up he would wake up in his bed and didn't know how he got there. You know what I'm trying to say? Or things like that. You know what I'm trying to say? So it was that kind of lifestyle. But he said he was running away from his past, what had happened to him as a young boy. But yes. The point is, I don't have hatred towards people that
of course,
okay. Just for our listeners, I don't have hatred. My thing is that like, I have love for them. You know what I'm trying to say? And because of that, I look at them as people that need to be healed, just as a straight person needs to be healed. You know what I'm trying to say? Okay. And I wouldn't say if a straight person was a nymphomaniac, I wouldn't say you should have pride in being a nymphomaniac. I should say that's a sexual act, and you shouldn't define yourself based upon your sexual acts. You know what I'm trying to say? Right. You should find a higher calling to define yourself, mainly serving God's will, to define what you would call pride. And even then, I would honestly say that as you begin to serve God's will, you learn to be more humble. You know what I'm trying to say? Than anything. You know what I'm trying to say? Go ahead.
Right, but how are homosexuals supposed to do God's will, learn God's will, grow in God's will if you're keeping them out the church?
I think that in order for them to get back into the church, they have to first go through some type of psychotherapy, man, or maybe people from the church can help them out with that. But the thing is that they need to get to the root, they need to get to the root of their issue. Like, for example, there's the thing now, you know, there's debates about this transgender thing. I'm trying to say, and I was watching this documentary. This is something that you rarely see. It just came out. It was made by RT, and it was these transgender men that were talking about how they regretted what they did. You know what I'm trying to say?
Oh, I think there's a large percentage of them that go back.
Exactly.
To the original.
And they
Absolutely.
went, and it's a complete mess, you know? So the thing is that, like, he himself said that, he said a person that could think that you could change your gender has a hard time dealing with the truth. That's what a transgender man said. So again, I live my life by 5 principles: love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Truth is one of those. So if you cannot handle that truth, that you have an illness, that you have a sickness, how are you going to be able to further go into higher, deeper truths? So you deal with them where they're at, right? And you handle that issue before you go piling on more higher lessons. You don't start a foundation with somebody if, you know, on rubble, you know what I'm trying, or on something that's shaky.
Weak foundation.
Exactly. So you get their foundation correct, because if you care about somebody, you love somebody, you want to see them strong. And that's the thing. I don't think people really care enough about people, man. That's the thing. If you care about people, you want to see them as strong, and you're going to say the things that people don't want to hear. You know what I'm trying to say? It's not always about what you want. It's about what you need. You know what I'm trying to say? It's not, you know, there's some people, I feel like we live in a world where, in spirituality, where people don't, it's like people don't care enough about people to tell them the things that they really need to hear. You know what I'm trying to say? We just want to have pleasantries, and, you know, that's not pleasant. You know, I mean, I haven't read the whole Bible, but from the stories I've seen, and even from the story of Buddha, it wasn't he wasn't looking for pleasantries. I would say he gave up his entire pleasant life for the complete opposite.
Absolutely.
Of pleasantries. So I think we're getting into this kind of this airy new age, you know, watered down spirituality that's really hurting people internally, as opposed to healing them. Yeah, yes, exactly. Yes. And so that, you know, that's basically I pretty much said my piece on it, and I hope you understand where I'm coming from now, because I finally was able to make it out.
I understand perfectly where you're coming from. Yeah, I understand where you're coming from. Yeah, absolutely. It's a hard one. That's a hard one, bro.
It's a hard one. It's because it's hard to care that much. It's hard to really carry that cross and to carry that burden. You know what I'm trying to say? And so, like, I like to have people. I mean, I'll put it this way, like in this little Facebook group we have, you know, if, you know, there are people in here that support, you know, the transgender community. You know what I'm trying to say?
Right.
I mean, whether they have my understanding or not, you know what I'm trying to say? I'm not, you know, like, I'm not gonna boot them out. You know what I'm trying to say? Unless they're saying something that's like highly offensive. You know what I'm trying to say? I heard this one sister was like, if you have something to say against homosexuals, it's probably because you want to be homosexual yourself, or something like that.
Kind of ignorant.
And if it gets to that point, then I'll probably boot you out, because you know you're just not respectful. You know what I'm trying to say? But like I'm not to the point where, like, I can't, like, be kind and understanding. I feel that kindness really, you know, that patience is really kindness. You know what I'm trying to say? For some people that are on a certain path, but haven't necessarily put all the puzzle pieces together. You know what I'm trying to say?
Right.
And a further thing I will say that I feel that, you know, as Black people, we are very empathetic and compassionate people, even though we've gone through hell. And I feel that a lot of times, a lot of these movements use our compassion to divert
further their agenda.
Sure, that's part of it, but also to divert energy, to get us to divert energy from actually going in and healing ourselves. We're so fucked up as a people. We don't have the energy to be dealing with whether transsexuals should have bathrooms or not. You know what I'm trying to say?
Absolutely. And it alludes to something I said a few minutes ago. I'm focusing on myself.
Yeah.
That I can't get involved with what someone else is struggling with. So as long as when we're in the same common place, we're respectful of each other. That's all I can ask for.
Absolutely. My whole thing is just, as you know, as someone that's trying to create somewhat of a community, my thing is like, I've realized that there are some empaths that are just like, you know what? As long as it doesn't hurt me, I don't see a problem with it. You know what I'm trying to say?
Right.
But what if it's hurting them? You know what I'm trying to say?
They're going to have to figure that out for themselves.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it.
You can't make them see they're hurting themselves. They have to wake up to that for themselves.
Yeah, but the thing is, while they're hurting themselves, while they're going and getting, you know, their penises cut off or their vaginas turned into makeshift penises. I'm trying to say, while they're going and they're getting, I'm not sure what it's called, like estrogen or testosterone put in them, chemicals, whatever it is.
Right, the hormones.
They're being supported by our women. You know what I'm trying to say? You know, the energy of our people that should be going into healing the traumas of slavery and the traumas of rape, you know what I'm trying to say, and the traumas of abuse and the traumas of within their own family.
Absolutely.
They're now diverting our energy of us healing ourselves to, you know, oh well, let's make a perfect matrix where everybody can have what they want in it. You know, in my understanding, and this goes along with the Buddhist understanding, as far as I know, Buddha went through the pain that he went through and the pain that he endured to break the cycle, to break the cycles of reincarnation. You know what I'm trying to say? He realized that we were trapped as human beings in a cycle of death and rebirth.
Right.
That this world is not perfect, and this world is not heaven or nirvana, and that he was going to, out of compassion for others, do the inner work to free himself. So he didn't go around trying to make government laws to make it so I can put on a purple dress and be accepted. You know what I'm trying to say?
Okay, but hear what you said.
Yep.
He didn't go around making laws. He was worried about his own awakening. Out of compassion,
exactly, for others. Yes.
No. He was worried about his own awakening. Once he awakened out of compassion, he left the roadmap for others to follow. This is what I did to awaken. You can try it too. He didn't put down an edict saying, you better do this, you have to do this, you can only do this. It's for those that it resonated with. One of the things that Buddha said was, don't believe something just because I said it. Try it out for yourself. If it works for you, use it. If it doesn't work, get rid of it. So again, like I said before, instead of us being distracted by those in our community that don't really operate on a level that we agree with, or trying to take from our energy, as you say, focus on yourself, focus on connecting with those that share your philosophy and opinion.
Yeah, absolutely.
And build with what you have. If you can't have an army, I'd rather have an army of 10 strong, able-bodied people than an army of 100 that's distracted and disconnected.
Yes.
and can't build anything together.
able-spirited people too. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's not quantity, it's quality.
Exactly. Bingo.
So if someone else is struggling, they have to go through that struggle.
Yeah.
They have to. If they don't get it in this lifetime, maybe they'll get it in the next lifetime.
If they're lucky, we ain't gonna be here forever, so they're gonna have to learn soon.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Exactly.
Because there's some people don't realize this is a journey that we're on. They think everything is, party, feel good, get down, I'm living my best life kind of thing.
Yeah.
And, that's not always the case.
Yeah.
But everyone doesn't know it. Yeah.
And, as I'm hearing you, say what you're saying, I'm thinking to myself, you know what? Part of me is like, hey, here I am speaking to this beautiful spiritual brother, this enlightened being, and here I am speaking about homosexuals, and I'm wasting, like I hope.
No. It's a perfect conversation to have because these are the times that we live in.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, as Black people, especially Black men,
yep,
so many people get put before us.
Exactly. Bingo.
Even though we're out here being killed, we're being falsely incarcerated.
Exactly.
We're being labeled drug dealers, rapists.
Exactly.
Now it's this whole toxic masculinity thing.
Oh boy, you heard that one? Oh my God.
We have our own fight. I can't worry about someone else's fight.
Yeah, exactly. But I have a lot. Yeah, my part. I have a lot of female listeners. You're trying to say so. I'm like that. Maybe. In our group, I had a poll about what do you think that the LGBTQ community is a positive or has had a positive or a negative impact on the Black community as a whole?
I remember that. Yes.
And I think the majority of people said that it's had a negative impact, but it was like 9 people that said negative. It was still like 7 people that said they don't know or they're unsure, and 2 people said it had a positive impact.
Yeah.
So there are still a lot of people that are kind of on the fence about this. So I was like, this would be a good way to be able to bring this up, because it needs to be talked about. And you're right. We do have our own issues, and there are a lot of Black men that are thinking to themselves, where's the compassion for us? I'm trying to say, like, if I don't like, I thought this is another topic that I got to talk about. I kind of find it strange with the whole Black Lives Matter thing. I was really rooting for them when they came out, but I didn't quite understand the whole scope of it. And I kind of realized that I might have had my emotions played on too, like in the same way I was saying earlier that we oftentimes have our energy ciphered by other groups for their agendas. I'm trying to say, so we can avoid our own issues. Absolutely. I realized that, I was having my energy ciphered there because I was going hard for these guys, and I didn't really understand that there was maybe a little bit of an underlying agenda there, until I went to their website and read everything that they're about, and I realized that they were given, I think it was like billions of dollars by this one homosexual billionaire named George Soros, I believe his name is. And I'm thinking to myself, would he have given you that money if you didn't support the LGBTQ community? Would he have cared about Black men in jail, in prison, if that Trojan horse was not in the package? I wonder. What do you think?
Yeah. Well, first of all, as a community, we're just still in that slave mentality of being bought and sold by the highest bidder. Yeah. The way I judge whether a movement is real or not, I compare it to everybody else. You don't see Asians out here saying Asians' lives matters. You don't see Arabs out here saying Arab lives matter. They're building communities, they're building families, they're building businesses, they have their own schools.
Bingo.
And they have an infrastructure that will withstand all the crap that we continue to go through.
Yes, exactly.
For us just to build a Black Lives Matter, okay, where do we go from there?
You don't go. You don't go from there, because guess what? What do you? Number one,
Black lives has always mattered. You're not saying.
No, but I'm just saying. I just gotta make this quick point though. Like we already have the biggest death of Black people is actually abortion and prophylactics. You know what I'm trying to say?
Mhm,
And
mhm.
then, and I'm not necessarily have any issue with that, or if it wasn't used for genocide, I wouldn't have, you know what I'm trying to say? I wouldn't have any issue with abortion. But unfortunately, I realized that was used to target black people more than it was
Absolutely.
as a general thing for women to have options. So
Absolutely.
another Trojan horse that I fell for. You know what I'm trying to say?
But
Go ahead.
what you find, people say history repeats itself. No,
Yes, exactly.
people repeat themselves. And the black church isn't what it used to be
Yes.
back in the day. Black families aren't what they used to be.
Yeah.
I mean, I see the difference in how we're living and how my grandparents lived.
Hmm.
We don't build anything. We don't own anything. We don't control anything. But we want to march and say we matter. Maybe we might get more respect if we came to the table with something.
Yeah, and again, now you just brought up another issue, another Trojan horse, and I love and respect your brother, but again, he might again have been played on too. Martin Luther King.
Yeah,
I'm saying he probably was he definitely was a Trojan horse. You know what I'm trying to say? So I'm just saying that, like,
I don't think he was a Trojan horse. I respect and admire a lot of what he and the civil rights workers did
mhm.
because they had fire hoses on them, dogs, sit at the back of the bus. They were marching like, look, we're tax-paying American human beings. Treat us with respect. Somehow that morphed into integration, but the initial fight was to see us and respect us as American human beings. And I will always appreciate that because that man showed more bravery than I've ever had to show in my lifetime.
I agree, and I love and respect him for that. I don't disrespect him. All I'm saying is that he himself may have been used. You know what
He
I'm trying to say?
was. He was. And he
Okay,
said at the end of his life, I think I integrated my people into a burning building.
bingo, exactly. That's exactly it. So I'm just saying that, like, these, like you said, history repeats itself, right? So
Mhm.
I'm just saying that, like, in the way that Malcolm X talked about Martin Luther King, you know what I'm trying to say,
Right,
and told
right.
him that no, this guy is, he's not.
Baton.
Well, he's being used against you. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yes,
And a lot of
yes.
black people ignored that at the time.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I'm just doing my job. As again, I say I live by 5 principles: love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. I'm doing my job to say to say the truth as far as I know it, so it can be on the record, and so I can let it go. You know what I'm trying to say? And it'd be like, okay, it's out there. Because you said again about building strong communities. Well, communities again are created by a man and a woman. You know, I'm just I'm just
No, no.
it's a hard,
Trust me.
yeah,
I feel you. I look at some of these sisters that talk about black male patriarchy, and I'm like, since when? Not in my lifetime.
yeah,
There ain't no men in the household.
exactly.
So I
And
get it.
yeah, there has been, and that goes into the Trojan horse of feminism and the what's that, the welfare system, the housing and things like that.
Yeah, yeah,
So I
yeah.
mean, goodness gracious! And the thing is that it's a hard pill to swallow. I know a lot of women are beginning to wake up from that. I know a lot of men have already woke up from that. And and now what it's done is it's put a rift between us spiritually. You know what I'm trying to say?
It's been a rift between us
It's been a rift,
spiritually.
but I'm saying that white people have played upon that rift strategically.
But you can't be played unless you're just out there vulnerable and looking for acceptance. A lot of us still think the white man's ice is colder.
Yeah.
And we still think they have the answer and they're going they white people come with the savior complex,
Hmm.
and a lot of us buy into their savior complex
Yeah.
thinking they're going to save us.
Yeah.
They're not giving us this. Why are they doing this? And I think some of us feel that integration, they thought was going to be 50-50. No, integration means I'll let two of y'all in the door.
Yeah.
We're integrated, door shut.
Yeah.
But we're not building for ourselves.
Yeah. Just make sure you leave all your businesses behind. Let them decay
And
and die off in the meantime.
yeah, and a lot of things I, listen to a lecture from an older brother,
Mhm.
which, older than me. I didn't know in high school there was a time you can get your plumber's license, your electrician's license. A lot of Black people who weren't going to school were learning these trades. But once integration started, they ended all of those programs.
Mhm.
So now we're no longer carpenters, we're no longer electricians, we don't build anything. We're standing on line with 500 other people, and they only need 5 new employees.
Yep.
And we're competing for the same jobs instead of making our own jobs. And I'm looking at these Arab dudes out here every morning. They're selling their bagels, their coffee, $1 here, $2 here. They make hundreds of dollars every day. But no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not doing this. It adds up.
Yeah.
It adds up. By any means necessary, it adds up. And we just don't put in that work like we used to as a people.
Yeah. But you know what? This is the esoteric Christian in me. And all that evil and all that sickness and all that, social economic engineering in warfare.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I feel that it set the stage for us to realize that the only way out of this is to go within. You know what I'm trying to say?
I know what you're trying to say.
Yeah, I mean, I really, I'm more of an esoteric Christian, so I'm not waiting for Christ, or Horus or whatever. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to become him. You know what I'm trying to say?
You are him.
Yes, exactly. So that's my path. So my thing is that like, ultimately, this show, this podcast is about trying to get people to go in and really, learn meditation and take spiritual practice seriously, because that's really, as far as I can tell, and I posted this earlier, the only thing that the white man fears is, one, a standing army, which we're not going to build, right? No. And, two,
they're afraid of one black Messiah.
Yeah, exactly. And two, the power of God within inside of us. That's it. Because some people say, well, they're not going to, black lives are not going to matter till black dollars matter. They print your money, dude. You know what I'm trying to say? Mm-hmm. And if you wanted to create your own little nation, they just bomb it. That's not, you know what I'm trying to say?
Which they have done time and
exactly.
again.
People don't learn from history. Look at Black Wall Street. So it doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. You're not gonna get out of this through growing your own food and farming. That can help. You know what I'm trying to say? You on your spiritual path by having something to eat that'll keep your vessel alive. But ultimately, you're gonna have to understand that in order to have real power in this world, you're gonna need to bring your soul online in this dream and awaken, just like the Buddha, just like the Christ. It's same story, different places.
Well, I'm a big proponent for growing food, especially so we can get off this genetic modified crap.
I agree. I agree.
But I also remember as a kid in the 70s, before this whole farmers market thing became chic, mm-hmm. a lot of the old timers will come up from the South. Sweet potatoes, corn, string beans, sugar cane, apples, grapes. They brought collard greens, cabbage. They brought all that stuff up here in the back of their station wagon, in the back of their trucks, and they sold it. And that was our farmers market. Mm-hmm. We don't have, I go to farmers markets now, I don't even see black people selling anything.
Yeah.
It's all Latinos and Asians and a handful of white people. If you can't grow your own food and feed your own people, that's the basics.
Yeah, food. Well, they made sure that was another. I'm not sure if it's a Trojan horse, but they made sure that when subsidies were given out to farmers, that black farmers were their applications were thrown in the trash. So that was another whole thing. I mean, there's again, but this goes back to get down to it. Ultimately, it's all teaching. I'll put it this way, but this is going to be maybe a little far out to say, but in the Christian understanding, all these things are to help humble black people to see what they really are. You know what I'm trying to say? Meaning,
how long is it going to take us to see?
Well,
it's been over 400 years now.
Yeah, that's how freaking prideful and just
ignorant.
Ignorant, sure. I'm just trying to think. What is the opposite of humble? What is that? Is it prideful?
Arrogant.
Black people are just so fucking arrogant, man. That they will not let pain teach them. You know what I'm trying to say?
I can't really say arrogant. Louis, totally, because we're in a capitalist society, which will sell you dreams. And it sells dreams to the individual. It doesn't sell dreams to the collective. Like Japan moves as a nation because they're all Japanese. You know, India moves as a nation because they're all Indian. We have a little bit of everybody, so they're not going to sell dreams to the blacks only. They're going to sell it to the individual. And they're going to sell it in the form of Beyonce, in the form of Bruno Mars, in the form of Mega Millions, in the form of, oh, you can buy this car, or you can buy this item. They external. They want to keep you outside of yourself, and they do it to all of us. It's not just black people.
Yeah, I know. But I'm saying we've been here the longest out of all the nations of the planet Earth. So I'm just saying that if you're a black person now on Earth, you know, you are either, you know, you're probably just the Bible talks about us as just dead, but a lot of us are just laggers. We're just laggers in the raising of consciousness, and it's all good. I'm not, I can speak about we speak about black people and our problems for another 3 hours, you know, but the truth of the matter is that, again, I feel that we're all connected, you know, even though I feel that even if your soul's not on Earth, down here on Earth, you know what I'm trying to say, you're not awakened to the dream, which very few are, your soul is still somewhere. You know what I'm trying to say? You know, everyone is a star, right? We might not, that may not be down here with you while you're in this matrix or this dream, but as people like me and you, we do meditation, or we raise ourselves up and raise our consciousness. Again, I feel that we're all connected by invisible strands, right? So as I pull up in that strand that is me, or you pull up in that strand that is you, we as a collective begin to raise, you know? So that's why our inner work is as important as important as marching. You know what I'm trying to say? Our inner work is, you know, as important as voting. You know what I'm trying to say?
Absolutely.
To those who understand the spiritual power it brings.
And I find also, Luis, even for those who don't have spiritual understanding, there are people watching you saying, "Dang, how does this brother? He's always positive. He's always doing something." They're watching you, and eventually you get people come up to you and say, "Yo, man, what are you doing? You know, you're always positive. You're always doing this. You're an example." You're an example. So it's you're touching people, and you might not know it yet. You're influencing people. You might not know it yet. They haven't shown themselves. You might get somebody to come to you 2 years from now. "Oh man, I was on your Facebook page. You did this podcast, or you put these posts. I started learning more about this, learning more about that. You started me on this path. I want to thank you for it." So just your walk, just the life that you're living, can be touching people. They just haven't come forth and showed themselves yet.
That's beautiful, brother. I'm smiling right now because that's something that I look forward to having come into fruition. That's just a beautiful sentiment. Thank you.
And it will. It will. It already is.
Yeah, I agree.
It already is.
Yeah. Anything you want to close on, brother? We're hitting about about an hour and a half now. It's been an absolute beauty of a conversation, man. And I hope. Shoot, where do you live at? I can edit it out if you want. But where do you live at? Where do you stay at, brother?
I'm in Manhattan.
Okay, shoot, you're not that far, man. I'm in Connecticut. You know, shoot.
Oh, okay. You know what? Cool. I'm heading up to not to put a plug, but I'm just gonna head up to Lenox, Massachusetts next weekend to Crapallo. No,
Okay.
You said Connecticut. I'm talking about Massachusetts.
Yeah.
Forgive
it's all
me.
good. It's all good.
But I want to thank you. I want to thank you because I was someone who said I don't have anything to say, and we've been talking for 90 minutes.
Yeah, you got a lot to say.
And I appreciate your page. I appreciate your energy. I appreciate speaking with you. Getting to know you.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like my heart is open right now after this conversation, and we have to push each other.
Absolutely.
We have to not only push each other, we also have to water each other like you would water a plant to make sure we're growing.
Exactly. Beautiful.
So I do thank you, and I appreciate you.
Pleasure and honor is mine, brother. We'll speak soon. All right.
Yes, sir.
All right. Peace.
Peace.